Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Max Verstappen once again reminded the Formula One world why his name has become synonymous with dominance, control, and relentless pace. This past weekend in Baku, Verstappen delivered what many have described as a near-perfect performance, securing pole position under tricky conditions before converting it into a flawless race victory. While a single win does not define a season, the manner in which Verstappen handled the weekend has reignited discussions about whether Red Bull and their star driver are truly back in the fight for the championship, or whether this was just a glimpse of old brilliance shining through in a complicated season. Qualifying already set the stage for something special. Baku's street circuit is notoriously unforgiving, with tight walls, low grip in certain sectors, and the unique combination of long straights mixed with technical, narrow sections. Adding to the challenge, Saturday brought gusty winds, making braking zones and corner entries highly unpredictable. Many drivers struggled with consistency, but Verstappen showcased remarkable adaptability. His ability to remain composed and extract every ounce of performance from the car earned him pole position, setting him up perfectly for Sunday's main event. The race itself followed a script that Red Bull fans know well from the past few years. Verstappen in clean air is almost untouchable. From the moment the lights went out, the Dutchman quickly established control, managing his pace with surgical precision. Lap after lap, the gap to his nearest competitors grew steadily, and while others faltered with tire degradation or balance issues, Verstappen's RB20 remained consistent. His management of tire wear was particularly impressive given the track's demanding surface temperatures, proving once more that his racecraft extends far beyond raw speed. After the checkered flag, Red Bull's team principal, Johan Mekwas, was quick to heap praise on his driver. He called Verstappen's performance impeccable and emphasized that this result was not only about individual brilliance, but also about the collective effort of the Red Bull factory in Milton Keynes. Mekwas highlighted how the team had delivered a car that could perform at both Monza, a pure speed circuit with minimal downforce requirements, and now at Baku, a complex urban track with mixed demands. The fact that the RB20 could shine in such contrasting conditions, he argued, was proof that Red Bull is finding its footing again after a turbulent start to the season. Yet, despite the dominance displayed, Red Bull is not rushing into bold declarations. Mekwas and the leadership within the team have made it clear that they are adopting a cautious, race-by-race mentality. They know how unpredictable the championship battle can be, especially with McLaren and Ferrari showing strong, consistent performances throughout the year. While Verstappen's victory narrowed the points gap slightly, the reality is that he still has ground to cover before being considered a genuine contender for the 2025 title. Another key aspect worth noting is the psychological dimension. Verstappen has always thrived when operating under pressure, but the early part of this season was frustrating, with reliability issues and setups that didn't suit his driving style. This win in Baku, therefore, was not only valuable in terms of points, but also crucial for rebuilding confidence and momentum within the Red Bull camp. In motorsport, momentum is often underestimated, but it can be the deciding factor in the second half of the season. One of the things that has always been part of Formula One is not only the racing itself, but also the political games being played behind the scenes. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this update. Recently, a rumor began circulating that Ferrari was lagging behind in the development of its 2026 power unit. On the surface, this sounded like a major problem for the legendary Italian team, especially with the new regulations coming in just 2 years. However, according to the highly respected outlet Racing News 365, this supposed delay was nothing more than a carefully orchestrated strategy aimed at damaging Ferrari's reputation in the technical job market. The idea behind spreading such a rumor is straightforward. By making it seem like Ferrari is struggling and falling behind, rival teams hope to make Maranello a less attractive destination for top engineers. And this timing is far from accidental. Right now, every team is intensively recruiting specialists to prepare for the massive regulation overhaul in 2026. Casting doubt on Ferrari's readiness could push potential hires toward other outfits, such as Mercedes, Red Bull, or even newcomers like Audi. The speculation intensified after the departure of Wolf Zimmermann and Lars Schmidt, two engineers who left Ferrari to join Audi's project. At first glance, their exit looked like a serious setback. But in reality, their work on Ferrari's future car had already been completed months ago. The leadership of the power unit program is now firmly in the hands of Enrico Galtieri, the head of Ferrari's engine department, and insiders report that dyno tests for the new unit are already scheduled. This clearly contradicts any notion that Ferrari is behind schedule. In fact, sources suggest that Ferrari's 2026 engine has been designed to operate at higher internal temperatures with reduced heat exchange requirements, giving it a unique edge in efficiency. Furthermore, the team has integrated innovative fluid dynamic solutions and strengthened its aerodynamic package thanks to the addition of Frank Sanchez, another respected figure in the technical world. Taken together, these developments suggest that Ferrari is not only on schedule, but may actually be ahead of the curve, with enough breathing room to test bold new ideas rather than rushing to catch up. Meanwhile, a silent war is unfolding in the engineering job market. Ferrari and Mercedes are leading the charge, both heavily recruiting to bolster their staff before the 2026 reset. Some insiders believe Mercedes will enter the new era with a slight advantage. But what's equally clear is that the narrative of Ferrari being late is little more than a political maneuver designed to weaken Maranello's pull. In truth, Ferrari appears far from vulnerable and is moving with a deliberate strategy to prepare for the next generation of cars and engines. What this episode highlights is how politics in Formula One can be just as intense as the racing itself. Rumors, leaks, and strategic misinformation are part of the game, and teams will go to great lengths to protect their secrets while undermining their rivals. For Ferrari, dismissing these claims is not just about protecting its image, but also about ensuring it can continue to attract the brightest minds to work on its ambitious 2026 project. Looking ahead, the competition off the track promises to be just as fascinating as what we'll see on it. With Ferrari determined to re-establish itself at the very top, Mercedes aiming to maintain its legacy of dominance, and Red Bull trying to carry its success into the new regulations, the stage is set for a battle of innovation, recruitment, and strategy. The development race is already in full swing, even if the new cars won't appear for another 2 years. One of the biggest off-track stories of the year in Formula One took another step forward this week, as Christian Horner, former team principal of Red Bull Racing, officially finalized his separation agreement with the energy drink giant. According to multiple reports, Horner not only secured his long-term financial position, but also received confirmation that he will be eligible to return to the Formula One paddock as early as 2026. Horner's departure came in dramatic fashion shortly after the British Grand Prix, when he was replaced immediately by Oliver Loquist, ending a tenure that had begun in 2005 and produced one of the most successful eras in the sport's modern history. The exit itself was followed by lengthy negotiations, primarily focused on the financial settlement of his contract, which was originally set to run until 2030. The final resolution, reached after weeks of talks, is staggering in scale. Horner is believed to have secured up to $100 million in compensation, covering both his outstanding salary commitments and performance bonuses that would have been due had he remained until the end of the decade. In practice, this means Horner forfeited little to nothing financially despite being forced out of his leadership role. Another key aspect of the agreement is the non-compete clause attached to his settlement. While Horner will be free to return to the sport in 2026, he is restricted from immediately joining a team considered a direct rival of Red Bull. Although the clause does not publicly list which teams fall under that category, it is widely assumed to include Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren, given their status as major competitors in both sporting and commercial terms. This stipulation effectively limits Horner's immediate options to smaller or midfield teams if he wishes to re-enter Formula One. In a statement issued this week, Horner expressed pride in his achievements at Red Bull, emphasizing that he had been part of the organization since its debut season in 2005 and had overseen its transformation into a multiple title-winning powerhouse. The team, in turn, acknowledged his historic contribution, noting that he would always be a part of Red Bull's legacy. Despite the positive tone of the messaging, the The scale of the settlement and the restrictions attached underline the tense and complex nature of his departure. The timing of Horner's potential return is notable. The 2026 season will mark the introduction of sweeping new regulations, including an overhauled engine formula and revised aerodynamic frameworks. For a team principal with Horner's experience, this transition presents both a challenge and an opportunity. Teams in the midfield or lower ranks may see him as the perfect figure to steer their efforts into this new era, combining deep technical knowledge with proven leadership and strong commercial instincts. Speculation has already begun as to where Horner could land. Teams such as Alpine, Williams, or even the soon-to-arrive Audi project could fit the criteria of being outside Red Bull's immediate rival list, while still offering the scale and ambition that would appeal to someone of Horner's profile. Audi, in particular, is expected to seek experienced leadership as it enters Formula One, and Horner's record of building Red Bull into a championship contender from scratch makes him an obvious candidate for such a role. At the same time, Horner's return could reignite debates about the balance of power among team principals. His ability to attract sponsorship, manage political battles, and navigate the highly competitive F1 landscape made him a unique figure over nearly 2 decades. The question now is whether he will look to rebuild his reputation from the ground up with a smaller operation, or whether he will wait for a more strategic opening that aligns with his ambitions.